lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
For those of you that were expecting road racing tonight from Watkins Glen, that got snowed out. So we moved to Talladega, Alabama, in the Talladega Superspeedway for the Resurgence League Round 4 tonight. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you, joined with me by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the living legend himself, Mr. Jonathan Leach in the camera truck. And Jonathan, we've got a special guest with us tonight.
Yeah, we most absolutely do. Someone you and I are both very familiar with. It's going to be a lot of fun for a three-man booth, especially at Talladega, and when things can get spread out. And you get, I don't want to say boring, but you have those lull moments. It'll be great to have them. But Tony, you can go ahead and bring him in. You've known him a lot longer than I have. He's your guest. So without further ado, go ahead.
Well, for those of you who are longtime fans of the Esports Broadcasting Network, you're going to recognize this this guy that is just joining us now in the booth. Welcome back, Mr. Frank Marchese.
Thank you very much. It's been the first time in, what, It's got to be a good 4 months or so. Yeah, good 3-4 months. I'm excited to be here. Talladega, it's going to be a fun night.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick look at our starting grid for the 80 lapper here tonight at Dega. Jackson Gleason setting the Red Cat quick time. He's going to be starting up on the point. He's going to be joined on the front row with the G unit himself, Mr. Bradley Wilson. Kyle Henneman and Ryan Worley going to roll off in row number 2. Row 3 gives us Danny Wells and Damon Lester. Keaton Atkinson and Liam Ervig going to roll off in row 4. Row 5 gives us James Wurtsema and Joseph Lester. Frank?
That would make up Carlin Forsyth and Chris Worrell will make up row 6. Row 7 going to Justin Mons and Garrett Delph. Tal Owens and Patrick Clapp will make up row 8. Row 9 going to Austin Collins and Dusty Burkhardt with Nicholas Wing and Brett Sira rounding out the field. 12th through 20th did not qualify. They will start by I rating.
Absolutely, and we've got a 65% fuel fill tonight. Everybody does have one fast repair in their pocket. Let's take a quick look at the weather conditions here in sunny southern Alabama. Partly cloudy skies, 78-degree ambient air temperature, but that track temperature's got me a little bit worried, Frank. 123 degrees with an 8-mile-an-hour wind straight down the back straightaway.
That means a lot of speed going down into turn number 3, and with the high track temperature, it's going to be really slick, and these cars are wiggly enough. Add that high track temperature, add that wind going down into 3, it's going to make for a difficult day for these guys down at the second half of the racetrack.
Absolutely. And, with the latest aero updates and damage model updates and tire updates that iRacing has rolled out recently, we saw it last night in the iRacing East Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series season finale, just how twitchy these cars can be when you start to try to bump draft in them. And, I got to think we're going to see some carnage early here tonight at Talladega.
They're incredibly twitchy, and that damage model is very unforgiving, as I have found out running at Michigan over the course of the week. These things lose horsepower if you just barely graze the wall. So this is going to be a night where you're going to have to keep it in line as best as you can. Don't try to get too adventurous, and if you hit that wall, you're going to have help behind you if you want to move forward.
Absolutely. As the field working its way through the 3-4 complex, Gleason going to have the button as they roll out at turn number 4. Now, the thing we do have to keep in mind is the start-finish line is at the end of pit road. So unlike Daytona, the pace car is going to make that lazy left turn onto, as it goes down below the yellow line. These guys are going to get the green as they work their way into the tri-oval. The only thing that's left to say, folks, you can say it with me, is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, make sure the steering wheel's on nice and tight, because race fans, it's showtime! Side by side, about 4 deep as they haul it off into turn number 1. It's Wilson on the high side, Gleason on the low side, as the 66 ahead of him trying to give the 33 of Gleason a decent shove right now. Everybody just kind of minding their P's and Q's, seeing who they can work with, who they want to work with, as that's a familiar face on the super speedway side of things. It's Ryan Wilson pushing on Wilson right now. As they haul it off into turn number 3, Wilson's going to get the clear, and so is Worley.
Another Balls Energy teammate for Ryan Worley, Chris Worrell, pushing that 54. I believe that's Carlin Forsyth.
Liam Ervig.
Liam Ervig, you're right. Up towards the top of this field here, as that was the 25 of Damon Lester that got shuffled out in the 9 Jersey Mike's machine.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why we frown on tech officials drinking before they hand out the transponders. Lester is in the 9, but being scored as the 25, so keep that in mind tonight, folks.
I think that's also looking like an incorrect transponder on Oh, no, I'm wrong. Irving is in that 54 now. He's got the 24 and the 31 ahead of him. That's Danny Wells leading that outside lane, with Bradley Wilson, the 51, leading the race.
Absolutely. Wilson getting a good shove from Worley. Worley had a lot of practice doing this last night, as they were looking to go 3 wide. Now they are 3 wide, actually 4 wide, as we got one down below the apron. That's the 66 of, yeah, I can't see it. Kyle Henneman getting shuffled out. He's going to drop back to that second group, but the top lane, jeepers.
Yeah, getting close here. Ryan Worley tried to take that run that Wells was getting on the outside line, and then the 51 went up to block it, opened the inside line for Worley, trying to take advantage then on the inside. The 51 of Wilson, nice little run still up here at the top, only really losing ground to Wells and Atkinson in the 31 and the 24 of the inside lane, is the 33 of Jackson Gleason, the winner at Daytona, to open up the season. A little bit of connection issues there on the inside line.
Absolutely, as that is a very familiar face on the super speedway side of things. Chris Worrell, your current points leader in the Resurgence League, currently pushing on the 51 of Wilson. The 31 of Wells has the 24 of Atkinson helping him out, and they've got Worley in that little 3-car deal going down the back straight in the inside lane. Outside lane, though, looks to be ganging up on him, and that's not the best thing you can see, especially if you're on that low side. Ooh, big moment for the 24.
Yeah, a couple of guys wiggling, a lot of movement on that back straightaway, especially from the 24 of Atkinson and the 06 of Worrell. A lot of movement on both those lanes. And you can see that's Wertsma in the 14 there, second car on the outside line. He's also got a lot of movement in that number 14 Chevy Camaro.
Well, the problem that he's going to run into is Joseph Lester was starting to push on him, and that's the worst thing you can do, is push the pusher, because that's when things go horribly wrong, horribly quickly.
Absolutely.
And don't look now, but this could spell disaster for the rest of the league, as you've got Joseph Lester and Damon Lester, father and son, running stem to stern in that second lane. As now we've got a third lane starting to form up. That is the 41 of Mounds leading that charge on the outside lane, as the 45 of Lester jumps up to cut him off.
Yep, that was Joseph Lester, the younger of the two, taking that outside line and getting the run out there on that outside line. Not much going on, as you see Nicholas Wing there trying to take position in that middle lane.
Absolutely, trying to make something happen, trying to get up there to help his two Balls Garana teammates tonight. And no, you did not hear me wrong, folks. Chris Worrell, Ryan Worley, and Nick Wing are all running for Balls Out Racing in the Resurgence League. So normally frenemies in the Friday Night League that just ended last night, they are teammates here tonight.
Damon Lester making a big move, going from the inside to the outside. There's got 2 of the 3 Balls Out cars, as you just mentioned. There's the 22 of Ryan Worley, the 90 of Nicholas Wing, line astern on the inside line. Ryan Worley, Chris Worrell, pardon me, still leading that outside line, or was leading it right up until Bradley Wilson jumped up there. He's looking for the race lead back from Danny Wells.
Absolutely. As, Worrell, as far as pushers go, especially in this league, there's 3 guys that I would not flinch if I saw them in my rearview mirror. And that's Worrell, Worley, and Wing, because we know those guys know how to work the draft. And we got a couple guys getting down under the yellow line there. Looks like that was the 24 and the 31 both getting shuffled out.
The 2 cars leading the inside line there. Dropping out is the 51 of Bradley Wilson. Jumps down to the inside lane. Chris Worrell does the same. And now Worrell jumps back up to that outside line. He wants to lead this next lap, as that's Justin Mons in the 41, and that was really close there between the 41 and the 45.
Absolutely. It's Joseph Lester, just 0 Fs given, jumping up behind Worrell, as, Worrell is shown in the first 3 races this season that he is one of the guys you're going to need to beat, or at least stay pace with, if you want to win here in the Resurgence League.
Currently leading the point standings, 125 points. 97 points next is Austin Collins, who I do not believe...
He's running 18th.
Oh, yep, he is. He's running towards the back, taking that hang to the back mentality. Winner of the last 2 races at Atlanta and Auto Club, so Chris Worrell having a very strong beginning to his season.
Absolutely, and he had a second place at Daytona for the season opener, so we know he knows how to get it done on a plate track, as right now Worrell getting that all-important bonus point for leading 1 or more laps here tonight, as he's getting pushed now by Wilson, the 14 of James Wursema, not having a good time of it right now. It looks like he might be getting some heat to that engine as, wow, Wilson just ran him up to the wall.
Certainly.
3 wide.
Oh, it's still almost coming together. There was the 51 and the 14.
14 may have gotten that safer barrier going into 3.
And that could be a problem, too. As again, we had spoken about it during the pre-race. This new damage model here, very unforgiving as far as getting into the wall. So that could turn out to be a problem. If you see that 14 start to lose some speed, that's going to be why.
Well, I'll tell you who's not going to be losing some speed right now, and that is the 6, the 22, and the 90, as the teammates are running stem to stern right now on that inside lane.
And that's about as bad a thing as you can see, as these guys, not only just teammates running here, but they know how each other races, running so much on both Fridays and Mondays together. So these guys certainly know what the other one's thinking. You can see the rest of the field now starting to gang up on these guys. 4 cars in the outside lane. Wow, that 45 of Joseph Lester made it really close.
Well, he is a young gunner and very aggressive, as we've seen early on, but it's bitten him in the backside more times than it's worked for him, as right now he sits in a very solid second place, as you don't see a lot of I'd say dangerous aggression coming out of the guys that are familiar with running the restrictor plate setups on these cars. The guys that put in the time and have the experience, you don't see a lot of lane changing and aggressive moves, especially this early in the race. They usually try to save that for the last 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah, and you're also seeing a lot of moves, especially here in this race. A lot of the moving and shaking is happening down the straightaway, especially the backstretch, trying to make those moves. As I say that, there go the Balls Energy cars in the middle of the corner, trying to get around that 51 of Wilson, knowing that he's going to be a little bit down, as well as the series debutant. That's the number 41 down there on the inside of Justin Mons, taking a look and trying to take position. Does get position away from Wilson, doesn't get the lead though.
Absolutely. Unfortunately for the 90 and Nick Wing, his teammates kind of abandoned him. Oh, contact! Lester got into Wing and all hell just broke loose.
Lester just went flying, and that was bump drafting in the middle of the corner and sent Wing right down.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, typically not.
Unreal.
That will be caution.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
See just a little bit of contact. It's a slight bump draft in the corner. And these cars get upset as it is, and right into the left rear corner went that draft, and Joseph Lester took a wild ride.
Yes, he absolutely did. And I know you love it when I say this, but he just caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games.
There it is.
Here comes the scores. And works on sticking the landing. 9.5, 9.2, 9.1, 2.1 from the Romanian judge.
There you go.
Well,
still trying to limp that number 45 Monster Energy machine into the lane.
Absolutely. As I see some people in the the live stream right now. Go ahead and let us know who you're pulling for here tonight at Talladega to pull off the victory. We will try to give that driver or that group of drivers a little bit of airtime and let them know that you're rooting for them. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications, because once we get into the new year, we are going to be doing this at least once a night, 7 days a week. A lot of times we're going to have double headers, and we've got some triple headers in store for you. 3 races going on in the same night. So wholesale pit stops taking place on lap 13 of 80. So I dare say it's probably going to be in fuel for everybody, especially those that have to get repairs done anyways.
4 fuel and fast repairs for a vast majority of this field here. And I think Ryan Worley might have beat Chris Worrell out.
He did. Nick Wing stayed out, though.
Interesting
Not sure.
call. He might have passed through because he's on the...
Oh, yeah, he did. He missed his pit stall, so he's got to go back around. That's not what you want to have happen this early in a race. But there's still plenty of time to make it up.
Well, it could be a plan of his as well to get to the back and be allowed to pit later on in this caution flag to try to get as much fuel into that machine as he possibly can. So that could be a strategy call for that 90 as well.
Yeah, it's a possibility. As only one car a lap or more down. What's going on with Worrell?
Chris Worrell pulling off, might have been speeding off of pit road.
Wow, yeah, he did.
He was trying to, he really went after it, trying to beat Ryan Worley off of pit road. May have just cooked it a bit too much.
Not what you're hoping to see, but Joseph Lester went down a closed pit, so he's going to have to get the wave around. And excuse me, yep, and there goes Wing down pit road now. But Lester going to have to take the wave around to get to the tail end of the the field there.
Pit lane closes on 2 to green, but if you do come in,
before the pace car
in down pit road, you can pit a little bit later, and that's what a couple of these guys, especially towards the back, are elected to do to fill it up with fuel now.
Well, that's a little bit of an exploit that iRacing lets you have, because pit road closes when the lights go out on the pace car as it crosses the start-finish line. And with pit road being on the exit of, the start-finish line being on the exit of pit road here at Dega, that kind of gives those guys that extra lap to stuff these things full of fuel. And it looks like Worley is electing to take the outside lane on the restart.
Everyone from 10th on back electing to pit there, and I believe it was Dusty Burkhardt at the 69 Reese's Camaro is the one that wins the race off of pit road there.
Yes, it is.
Those guys try to get cycled out as Worley now, I think, is taking his inside line now.
It looks like he was wanting to go to the outside. So he's going to be restarting up on the point. He's got Damon Lester to his outside, Liam Ervig behind him, and Lester has Jackson Gleason behind him. So going to be an interesting restart here, as a lot of guys are already on the back foot, having to burn their fast repair after that melee that brought out caution number 1.
90 of Nicholas Wing. If you look at the left rear of his car, naturally does have damage, has a little bit of damage on the left front of that car as well. But other than that, looking pretty good after just being in that accident.
Yeah, he should be okay as long as he stays in the draft, and he can save that fast repair for a little bit later in the race, burn it, closer to the finish, and then, bring the car home in one piece. As the pace car is in, Worley has the button as the field moves its way into the tri-oval and into the Red Cat restart zone. Worley's going to pick up the pace. Green flag is out, and we are back underway here at Talladega with 15 laps in the books.
Big lurch there to the outside by Jackson Gleason. Didn't really get much from it, though. He might have just been trying to pull Damon Lester up a little bit higher, because there's a big gap forming in that bottom line between the 31 and the 13 that Gleason now promptly fills.
Absolutely. As I believe the 33 and the 31 are teammates here tonight. Don't quote me on that. I will do some checking on that in a little bit here. But right now, Worley showing the way on that low side, driving the bright orange Ford Mustang. We got quite a few Mustangs here tonight. Not as many as we normally see. And I'm seeing a lot more Chevys than we normally see on plate tracks, being as normally the Toyota has a little bit of an advantage.
That Toyota Supra there, a couple of them, as that 54 of Ervig tries to take that middle 3 wide here for the race lead. The first 2 rows running 3 wide right now.
And Frank, you know as well as I do, that's the worst thing you can hear your spotter say anywhere in the iRacing circuit. 3 wide, you're the meat.
Absolutely, and I think that's why the 33 of Jackson Gleason just backed out of it. As look already up here towards the front, Nicholas Wayne right back here in this battle is the 5th car on the inside lane there, and that Aaron's number 90. As things now starting to siphon back out again, it's the 31 of Danny Wells taking the lead again.
Absolutely, 31 getting a run. Irving getting a good run on that second lane, though. Short way around for Wells. Irving, though, with the nose out front as they come across the stripe, give the lap to Irving. That is an all-important bonus point with how tight he is in that battle for 3rd place in points right now.
Absolutely, and Irving, you just mentioned that battle for the 3rd place position in points. It's certainly a little bit closer than I'm sure he would like. As just to, sorry, my screen walked there. A lot of movement. Look at that 13 of Garrett Delph swinging up and down and inside and out, making a 3rd lane. The 24 of Atkinson goes to the bottom of Irving.
Drops down right in front of Joseph Lester. As good news if you're a Ryan Worley fan, cavalry has arrived in the form of Nick Wing, as they also have the 24 of Keaton Atkinson running right there with them in that 2nd lane. Give the lap to Worley as he and Wing both now drop down to the low side. Those guys have worked well together in the past. I would expect nothing but the same from them. And don't look now, but here comes the 6 of Worrell.
Just going to mention the 6 of Worrell. Look at how much damage he has on the nose of that car from bump drafting. And that's all it's from. It is from bump drafting, but that 6 is torn up in the nose right now.
Yes, he is, but he still has his fast repair in the pocket, because the 3 of them, Worrell, Worley, and Wing, all were able to, for the most part, get out of that first wreck unscathed. They're about the only 3 cars that missed it. Now, Wing did get a little left side damage as he pancaked into the 54 of, or sorry, the 51 of Wilson. But all things considered, neither one of those cars looking in too bad shape right now.
Speaking of Joseph Lester, he's right back up there. He's bailing out of it now, but he had gotten all the way from the back after getting the wave around, just barely staying on the lead lap as he drove that stricken number 45 all the way around, took his fast repair, and was coming out of pit road just as the leaders were heading in. Worked his way up to the front and then gave it all back there as he decided to bail out towards the rear end.
Absolutely, as the 51 of Bradley Wilson giving the 6 of Worrell a good shove coming through the tri-oval, backs off because he knows you're not supposed to be pushing in the corners. as now they both get the clear on Worley, the 13 of Garrett Delph right there as well, trying to take over third spot, and he almost has the clear, but Worley coming back on that inside lane with a lot of help from Nick Wing.
Chris Worrell right up at the front of this field, right where you'd expect him to be, as that is the 25 of Damon Lester that bails out. Now goes to the inside, and once again those Balls Energy machines running 1, 2, 3 on that inside lane.
Absolutely, stem to stern, as is the MO of that team, no matter where they show up, as Worley giving Worrell a good shove going into the tri-oval. They don't want to dick around right now, as Bradley Wilson trying to make something happen in that outside lane, not going to let it happen, as Worrell leads another lap.
He's only got Garrett Delph on that outside lane. Now Wells is going to join the battle on that outside lane, making a third lane as he's got Atkinson following him. I think Atkinson's just trying to get the draft from the closest car, as the 51 takes a big swing up to the outside line to cut Wells's run off, and now Delph will dive to the inside. Oh.
I'm white-knuckled and I'm not even in the race.
Okay, so it's not just my first race back and seeing super speedway racing.
No.
Okay, this is genuinely tense. All right.
As Worley going to take over the lead again, as Worrell bails out to let him get some clean air to the radiator of that Mustang. Not able to do so when he was sucked right up to Worrell as he was, as they are coming up very quickly on the 7 of Brett Sierra. And Sierra did not burn his fast repair. I'm kind of surprised at that.
I think Sierra might have been expecting another caution to come out fairly quickly, as he's the only car running a lap down right now. So I think the 66 of Kyle Henneman also may not have burned his fast repair. If he didn't, he's running by himself. Yeah, he's got some nose damage there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of nose damage.
Number 66. So he might not have burned it either.
And remember what I told you when we were in the pre-race? Oh, look, a Kevin LePage car. And for those of you who don't get the joke, you could find the video still on YouTube somewhere of Kevin LePage being the spirit guide of many of the drivers in the in the Carburetor Cup, where he was coming out of pit road and just immediately blended up onto the track at like 65 miles an hour. And here comes the field at close to 200, and he wadded everybody. Oh, speaking of wadding.
We're just going to say it, the 24 of Atkinson in the wall.
And he's not done yet.
Nope, he's not. Hard hit to the inside there for the 24. We stay green, though.
And hopefully he hasn't already burned his fast repair, because he's going to need to do it now.
I don't think he has, but boy, that was a big moment for that 24 of Atkinson. And boy, it just looked like he and the 54 just kind of had a meeting of the minds.
Well, it's basic physics. Two solid objects cannot occupy the same moment in the space-time continuum.
It's the 51, my apologies. And yeah, the 24 just slid up the racetrack right into the 51, I guess trying to cut him off and take the run. But boy, did he judge that wrong.
And the bad news is Brad Wilson has already burned his fast repair, and that car is toast.
He's been a big factor in these first couple dozen laps.
And he's staying out too. Oh man.
As well, try to catch a caution at this point as the 65 of Patrick Kapp goes around him.
He's 50 miles an hour off pace.
Well, you know.
That's dangerous.
Oh, it is. And especially now, here comes Brett Sierra behind him. Boy, that 51, you're right. That 51 is torn up.
Absolutely. The 24 is back out on track. It looks like he did have his fast repair available still, but without the draft, the field's just gobbling him up as he's the next one to go one or more laps down.
He's not going to be without the draft for long because the field is right there on him. They're going through 1 and 2, so he'll get the draft in one way or another. It certainly won't be on the lead lap, though.
Check out that lap by Toll Owens. Good grief. 49.93. Fastest lap of the event so far.
That's going quick, especially in one of these cars. That is quick.
Yes, it is. But you take a look at some of the speeds these guys are hitting going off into turn number 3. 198 miles an hour, or 189 miles an hour. That's moving.
That's what's now a 10-mile-an-hour tailwind heading down into turn number 3 all the way down that back straightaway. So it's gusting now. As we've got a
second lane starting to form up at the front of this piece. That's Justin Mons getting a good shove from that's Owens. That's Toll Owens up 11 spots. Nick Wing up 16, Justin Mounds up 11, Toll Owens up 11. So some good moving going on here for the guys that decided not to take time in qualifying.
Speaking of somebody like Nicholas Wing, and we'll go with Chris Worrell as well. Remember, Wing blew past his pit box on pit road, came in the second time around. Chris Worrell got a speeding penalty off, restarted this run at the very back of the field, and within about 5 or 6 laps, we're right back up where they are now.
Absolutely. I mean, those are pretty much the iRacing versions of Dale Jr. and Dale Sr. And I'll let you figure out who's who as far as that goes. But, those guys, it's almost like they can see the air.
It is. It's unbelievable, especially for Worrell, the knack he has. We see it so often on Friday nights with Worrell and just how good he is, and always finds himself in a position to win one of these races. And we started to see it right before I departed, which we'll talk about that after the race. Wing was just starting to find that aggression too, because Wing was one of those guys that would hang around the back of the field, try not to be aggressive, and wait for the guys to wreck in front of him to make his move. But now he's turned over a new leaf. He's starting to make moves, becoming a lot more aggressive now, and I'm loving it.
Oh, it's also he's becoming a lot more comfortable in the car.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing. Once you get comfortable in a car, game on, as now they are working the outside of the 66 Kyle Henneman as he goes a lap down. Staying to the high side, holding his, which that's the only thing a lead lap car could ever ask for, is just hold your line.
Be very, very predictable.
Yes.
That outside line, speaking of which, that outside line has just died out. Justin Mons in the 41 and Towel Owens we're trying to work that outside line, and it's just kind of fallen to pieces as now guys are using that outside line to shuffle towards the back.
Well, here's the thing. You know as well as I do what it means when these guys get single file on a plate track. That's the tattletale that green flag pit stops are about to happen.
Yep, it's coming close. And as you mentioned during pre-race, 65% fuel limit for these cars here tonight. So it is, you're right, it is coming close. We went green on, what was it, lap 11 or 12, and we're starting to get to that point now, 20 laps into the run.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time these guys were down pit road was on lap 13 or 14, depending on who you were.
Bless you. A couple of guys.
Thank you.
Faking it there is, saw the 24 of Atkinson. Now he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be left sort of hung out to dry here, because he's not going to have to come into pit. He just came in to repair that damage after his incident with the 51. So he's going to be hung out here in that number 24.
Yeah, he is if he stays out, but it would behoove him knowing that there's going to be another caution before this race is over. I can promise you that. If he stays with this lead group of cars and stays in that lucky dog position, which he currently is in, as we've got a blinker, that's the 33 of Gleason, disappeared through 3 and 4 there for a couple seconds. But if Atkinson can stay with this lead group of cars, pit with them, stay in that lucky dog position, he's going to be golden when the next caution happens.
Forget about track position for a second. The one thing that 24 has over the 66, 51, and the 7 guys who are 1 or more laps down, he has a clean race car. The other 3 do not.
You are correct. And the 51, unfortunately, got caught up in that first melee and then completely wrecked the car, hitting the wall. And unfortunately, that car is not up to speeds yet. About 10 mile an hour pace. But Brett Sierra is even worse. He's about 25 miles an hour off the pace.
Sierra's missing the nose of that number 7 completely. Is that 24, and I think more so the 31. Starting to get a little impatient there on the outside line behind the 33 of Gleason. You don't want to be trapped behind a blinking car at any racetrack, especially here at Talladega. And now they finally shuffle Gleason and the 33 out, so the 24 now leading that outside line.
Absolutely. It's going to be a little bit clearer sailing for Danny Wells in the 31, because now he can push on the 24 to try to make some headway.
Ryan Worley and Nicholas Wing still running line astern at the front of this field. That's the 14 of James Wurtsma sitting there as the 3rd car on the inside line. The only separator between Wing and Worrell on the inside, and there's the 67 of Carlin Forsyth as well. We've seen him kind of looming just outside the top 10 right now in that Interstate Batteries machine, 5th car on the inside line.
Well, if what we saw at Daytona from Forsyth is any indication of what we expect later on in this race, provided he keeps that car clean and you know, doesn't have to burn his fast repair early, expect him to be racing for the win in the closing laps of this race. He usually tries to, you know, he knows when to go and when not to go. And that's the one thing I like about Forsyth is he's got that racecraft down.
Does have that. He does appear to, at least in the 35 circulations of this racetrack that we've done already, he does appear, at least to me, to have that poise if he knows, don't get too far out of touch, just hold there, but don't get too close just in case something does happen in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. As here comes the 54 of Irving back on that outside lane, trying to make some headway. He got shuffled way back there for a little bit, as now 3rd car in line on that 2nd lane, trying to make some headway, as they are still side by side 3 deep at the front of this thing.
13 of Garrett Delph as well on that outside line, trying to just stick with them as everybody else running down on that inside. So only 3 of those 4 cars on the outside line, just the 31, 54, and 13, are actually for position. That 24 of Atkinson, as we've noted, the lap down.
He is currently lap down, trying to get his lap back the hard way. Unfortunately for him, Danny Wells not wanting to push on him yet, as you know, I gotta think we're getting damn close to these guys going down pit road for a green flag pit stop, as it's now currently 25 laps since the last time they did it.
Yeah, it is going to be quite close here, and the strategy, I think, is going to be, it's not going to be a question of fuel. We know they're going to need that. It's who's going to take tires here. We know that a majority of these guys did not under that first pit stop. Do you take 2? Do you take none? Or do you just bite the bullet now and take all 4? So this way you don't have to take that 4-tire stop later in the race, as we're getting closer and closer to halfway here.
Everybody took 4 that last time.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
13 of Delph.
Yikes. That was a big move.
Swung way up to the outside line, trying to get out of the way.
And here we go. They're getting single file again.
Yep.
You know,
I think this time, yeah. I think it's a little bit more of a tell than last time.
Absolutely is. It wasn't more shuffling back. It was more everybody trying to get low.
Give me a line.
And, I dare say that James, you're going to want to put that pit in camera up when this happens, because you're not going to want to miss the fireworks that are guaranteed.
Look at the 13 of Delph. He has gained about 3 or 4 spots by himself on that outside line, taking a slingshot that he got coming into turn 1, carried it all the way through 1 and 2, all the way down the back straightaway, and he had gotten just in front of Chris Worrell, couldn't clear him by the time they got into turn 3, and he's doing this by himself using side draft alone on that outside line. Impressive stuff there for the 13.
Absolutely, and that's something that I'm glad to see is back in this car, because of the tail end of season 4 for iRacing. It kind of, they took that away for a little bit, but they did tweak on the aero model to bring the side draft back into play, as they are fast approaching, I believe that's Wilson again.
No, that's Brett Sierra. Sierra jumps out of the way, and here they come.
Game on.
All but about 1 or 2 come in.
Worrell and Delph are the only 2 that stayed out,
including the 24 of Atkinson coming in, wanting to get and stay on cycle with these guys. Not a bad play, again, especially with the fact that he's the only car that does not have damage of the lappers.
I've noticed that too. And Damon Lester misses his pit box.
It's a big one there for Lester. He might lose this group. If not, he'll be at the very tail end of it, as the 69 of Dusty Burkhardt wins the race off of pit road, as Worrell and Delph now coming through 3 and 4. About to make their pit stop, you would think. Yeah, nope, they're going to go around again.
They must have been able to save enough fuel, but Worrell and Worley and Wang, they were running up towards the front of this piece, as now they've swapped positions, and now they are going to quickly dispatch of the 69 of Burkhardt as they haul it down the back straightaway. Burkhardt absolutely no help on that low lane, as it looks like Forsyth's going to join the 2 Balls Garana cars on that outside lane to work their way around the 69 of Burkhardt.
Oh,
and Burkhardt's got to come back in.
Yep, Burkhardt might have gotten a penalty on pit exit.
Yep. That's exactly it. And good news if you're a Brett Sierra fan, he's burned his fast repair finally.
Well, there you go. As here comes just behind that 69, Chris Worrell is going to be very close to a speeding penalty entering, as he and Garrett Delph both come back in. 69 blew the stall as well.
Oh.
Get a bad situation worse. I think the 6 is going fuel only here. He is. 13 takes 4 tires and fuel. The 6 goes full fuel.
Well then, that's an interesting situation.
So here comes the rest of the field through the tri-oval right now.
Absolutely, is Worrell and Delph both out on track, as Worley goes to the high line to pick up his teammate Nick Wing as they work their way around the 13. Garrett Delph gonna just have to wait, as Forsyth now leading that bottom lane, as the 24 was looking to try to get his lap back the hard way.
It's just 1 lap for that 24, as the 6, by virtue of taking fuel only, is going to be able to get out and stay out ahead, at least for the moment here, in front of these guys. Now these guys are going to go right around him on the outside line. Watch out, 14 and 22. So Worrell will go ahead.
I was going to say, I dare say Worley and Wing are probably going to drop down to pick up Worrell. he's able to latch in. Here we go.
One in front, one behind.
But Forsyth up 10 spots, currently leading this piece, has the lap car right behind him of Keaton Atkinson. And then we're looking at the 54 of Lehman Irving, third car in line, second scoring position on track.
And I think Wilson didn't burn his fast repair under that first and only caution that we've had tonight, because he's got a fresh car in that number 51. So now he's the second car one lap down. Keaton Atkinson still the first cars. Boy, Chris Morrell takes a big move to the third lane.
I don't think he had a choice in the matter.
Well, so much for one in front, one behind.
That could have ended poorly. And you are absolutely right. The 51 of Wilson has got a fresh car, as he is now the caboose in that second lane. Contact 3 wide. There it is.
Coming down the track, down to the 45. And there it is.
So
they look like they got a lane pretty clear, though.
Yeah, that wasn't as bad as it could have been.
45
yeah.
45 done. Hauler.
Pretty much.
Surprise attack, because this car didn't look too bad.
Well, the good news is, if you are a Keaton Atkinson fan, he now gets the free pass as soon as they get to the pace car.
I was just getting ready to say it. The best case scenario for Bradley Wilson right now is for the 24 to find a way around the 67. And a caution to come out quick, because that would give Atkinson the lap back on merit. And then the 51 be the lucky dog, because that 51 has been so good when he's been up towards the front.
If he gets back on the lead lap, the rest of the field's in trouble.
Yep. I just saw it on the stream back live again. That was net code there between the 6 and the 14 that started that.
And it looks like Cheryl Wilson and Josh Abe both agreeing with us. Joshua calling Bradley the GOAT. And I dare say Cheryl Wilson may possibly be a family member. So, welcome. You're surprised what?
I'm surprised the 51 coming into pit here with the rest of the cars. Well, one, he's a lap down, so I'm surprised at that to begin with. And then number 2, to stay out, to get that wave around, to get back on the lead lap, because he's one of the cars that came in towards the tail end of that run.
Yeah, absolutely. But looks like Burkhardt did stay out to try to get the wave around, as did Henneman.
Wow, Henneman right now sitting stopped.
Or not.
On the inside, out of pit road. Comes through, doesn't come into pit road, took his fast repair under the green flag stops, and now is stationary just beyond the start finish line right before turn 1.
Interesting. Danny Wells winning the battle off pit road, only taking fuel, as did Garrett Delph in the 13. Carlin Forsyth took 4 in fuel. Ryan Worley 4 in fuel. Nick Wing 4 in fuel. James Worsama looks like he stayed on a little bit longer to get a little bit of damage repair. Damon Lester 4 in fuel. Chris Worrell staying on a little bit longer to get some damage repair. Same for Toll Owens, Justin Mounds, Austin Collins, Jackson Gleason. All those guys staying on. Actually, no, Gleason got popped for speeding.
Had to have been speeding in, since he's got the first pit stall by virtue of winning the pole.
It was. Popped for speeding in. So
Red Sierra will get one of his 2 laps back here. So he'll get the wave around now, unless he comes in.
Well, the only downside is if you are Sierra, last time he was down pit road was lap 37. So he's about halfway through a fuel run right now.
He will take the wave around. As a couple of guys making a late dive. Ryan Worley in. Wilson in. Wing in. Chris Worrell in the 6 in.
So a little bit of strategery taking place here tonight, as the lights do go out on the abomination that iRacing refers to as their pace car now.
66 of Henneman also coming around and getting a lap back as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was all about, but okay.
It's a very unique scenario with Henneman. He was stopped down there for quite some time.
Not sure what Forsyth's doing, because he's supposed to be lining up inside row number 1, or row number 2, I mean.
I guess Forsyth has elected the outside line via the choose cone.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a thing in full fender Premier League stock car racing.
Did you watch NASCAR last year?
You're not wrong.
I think Kyle Henneman was waved around to get himself.
Yes, he was.
A lap that he lost back by sitting stationary there, so I think that's the only reason why.
And they're waving Wilson around as well.
It's an interesting call, especially with the cars lined up, but the lights have gone out on the pace car. So
they're going to have to extend this caution.
Yeah. I was going to say it's Abu Dhabi from a couple of weeks ago all over again here. We're sending cars before the... Now that doesn't make sense. Why would you send Wilson and not extend the caution?
Because reasons? I don't know.
He may as well have stayed a lap down then, because he'll be alone.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
In any event, we're going back to green flag racing here. Danny Wells on that outside. Green flag is out. And a big jump there on that outside line as both Wells and Forsyth both go. The 13 does not get a good restart at all. Neither does really anybody else, as the 31 and the 67 have both checked out.
Absolutely. The question is, did they get too big of a jump? Because now you've got a 3-car tango right behind them that is reeling them in hand over fist. Make that a 5-car tango.
My money is yes, they did. Yep, there goes the 13. 33 of Jack Gleason kept that 14 from going with the 13 and possibly making a run for the lead.
Well, he was thinking about it, then realized a car high, and that would have ended poorly.
Update on Bradley Wilson, by the way. The lead cars go through the tri-oval right now. Bradley Wilson is midway down the back straightaway. So he might as well have stayed a lap down at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. As Wells shows the way, he's got Forsyth right there in tow. Wurtsema and I believe that's Ryan Worley behind Wurtsema.
Yes, it is Ryan Worley in that number 22 Shelby Mustang. It's a lot of, we saw it earlier, but now we're back in the big pack here. Seeing a lot of moving and bobbing and weaving through this field here as we're 3 wide, several rows deep now.
And again, I said it before and I'll say it again. I'm white knuckled and I'm not even out on the track. That's Toll Owens leading that charge on the outside lane. He's got the 41 of Justin Mons right there with him, as unfortunately He does lead a lap, but they're going to split him and put him right in the sucker hole as they go into turn number 1.
Impressive run there from Toll Owens. Went from 10th to 1st on that lap. What a run by the 09.
He's another one of those guys that really knows how to work the draft. He had a great run at Daytona until he got caught up in someone else's dumpster fire. But definitely someone that knows how to work the draft at a plate track, that's for damn sure.
For the first time tonight, series debutant, the number 41, Justin Mons, heads up to the front. He's got Chris Worrell right behind him just to find some room to sneak down to the inside. However, Mons not quick enough to cover the inside lane. It's going to be Chris Worrell back to the point.
And Worrell is fast approaching having led the most laps here tonight, as he does get that lap, as we now have 50 in the books. 30 to go. Worrell, Mons, Owens, Wells, Forsythe, Wing, Wurtsema, Worley, Irving, and Delph rounding out your top 10 currently. As yikes.
We've seen a lot of big moves and big slices here tonight.
I think some poos come out.
Yeah, because, boy, that's opened up a big gap there as Wells allows Mons to jump down to the inside. And Mons is going to go further still to the inside. 3 wide for the race lead.
They're almost 4 wide for a second there. Worrell getting shuffled out now, as that's Irving and Worley dropping down in front of him. So not going to hemorrhage too many spots, as Worrell immediately jumps back to that bottom lane where he is the most comfortable. Worley, though, doesn't matter where you put that kid, he's going to be fast. As we are now going 3 wide, that's Irving jumping up to the high line to try to cut off Toll Owens.
Chris Worrell now trying to jump to the middle, now falls to the inside. He's going to leave his teammate Ryan Worley to dry on the inside, down the middle. Toll Owens jumps to the inside, as well as the number 7 of Brett Sierra jumping to the inside as well. Sierra 2 laps down here, but with a new car after taking the fast repair on the run of green flag pit stops with a new lease on life.
Do you see what I just see at the front of this thing? Worrell, Worley, and Wing stem to stern in that second lane.
Well, wouldn't you know it?
Guess who won the pony?
Worrell getting close. Worley trying the side draft on the 31 of Wells. Irving as well on that outside line, that Pat McAfee show, number 54. Worrell jumps to the inside. He'll retake the race lead.
Unreal. I mean, just when you think you've got him beat, that kid just climbs back.
Three-car run on that outside line. Everybody else sort of spread out on the inside. As Chris Worrell, Ryan Worley, pardon me, has been a fixture up at the front of this race, trying to work his way back up to the race lead with his teammate Nicholas Wing, who's been behind him this entire night, pushing him along again.
I would like to point out that Worley and Wing both did miss Daytona, so this is the first time we're seeing them on a plate track here in the Resurgence League. But 2 fixtures in the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series on Friday nights, they know how to get it done in an Xfinity car at Talladega.
Absolutely. Yep, they just did it last night in the Xfinity car at Daytona for their series finale. Yes, boy, look at Wells and Forsythe on that inside, not giving up much ground, as there goes Delph to the outside of Wurtsema in the 14.
You know, that's the one thing. It's aggressive, but I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Garrett Delph. He's not afraid to try to side draft somebody, even knowing that net code could happen and end horrible for both parties.
It's intelligent aggression is what it is. He's making a lot of big moves in that 13, but he is not putting anybody else in any sort of danger. If you look up at the front now, Ryan Worley back out in front of this thing. I think Chris Worrell might have backed up the inside line a little bit to allow both the 22 and the 90 to come down going into turn one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the biggest question remains as we get into the second half of this race. We still have yet to see the money stop. But the big question is, can Chris Worrell make it 3 in a row?
It's hard to do. It's hard to win 2 in a row, which he's done. But then when that third one is a super speedway, and this marks the end of the first half of the season, we've only got 4 more races to go after this, and we have a very different racetrack coming up next Saturday night at Bristol. It's hard to win one of these things as it is. To win 3 in a row is incredibly difficult.
Absolutely. We go from the stomping grounds and the just
high banks
meat,
of Talladega,
the meat grinder. Well, we go from the meat grinder that is Talladega into the last great Coliseum that is Bristol. I mean, that's such a great dichotomy in differences in tracks that, I applaud the guys that set up the schedule for the series. I believe it was Liam Irving by himself setting up the schedule. Just figuring out which 8 tracks they wanted to run. The one road course is going to be moved to the middle of January. We were supposed to run that tonight. Unfortunately, it snowed in central New York today. And it is now sleeting right now.
Yeah, so the races have been flipped. What was supposed to be Talladega week, I think 2 weeks from now,
right,
it's going to be Watkins Glen. So you go from super speedway, 1.5 mile, 2-mile D-shaped oval, super speedway, short track road course. That's a great mix for these cars, especially the next 2 races. Going to be very tough on these drivers.
Absolutely. Now, the good news is they are going to get 2 weeks off for the holidays, being as next week is Christmas and the following week is New Year's Day, and nobody really wants to race on New Year's Day. Because I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm probably going to be too hungover to fish. Meanwhile, some great action at the front of this thing, though, as Worley and Wells still in lockstep at the front of this thing. And, hats off to those Balscarana guys, running stem to stern most of this race here tonight. And whenever they got shuffled around and split up ever so slightly, they battled back and got right back with each other.
And here comes, rearing its ugly head, the controversy of the restart as the 51 of Bradley Wilson getting put a lap down. Now, if you're just joining us, Wilson was a lap down, got a free pass about halfway around the lap, coming to green.
He got it going into turn 3.
Yep, only got about halfway around the racetrack before the rest of the race went green. So now him with a clean car, he's got the lucky dog right now, but still, that's be a little late to be pulling the trigger on the wave around.
Well, the good news is when we do have to go into a green-white checker situation, he should be the free pass car. I said it. Go ahead. Get your hate mail coming now, folks.
One would think. Is this going over the rest of that schedule? Bristol, Watkins Glen, Chicago, Homestead. The back half of this season. It's going to be a bunch of great racing at a bunch of great racetracks. And for Homestead Miami Speedway to close it out seems pretty correct, I will say. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the whole finishing at Phoenix thing, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, no, I have not been a fan of it. As boy, that outside line really starting to take hold now that the 51 has jumped up there. Right now the 31 and 54 come down to take the lead away from the 22 of Worley.
Absolutely. Is Liam Irving having a great run here tonight. Did get caught up in with that early fracas, but was able to burn his fast repair and get that car fixed. As now he jumps up to the outside lane to pick up the 14 of James Wurtzema, as trying to make something happen in that second lane. 4-car tango up top, 5-car tango down below. Give the advantage to the low lane right now as that upper lane not comfortable pushing.
And it's really 4v4 right now because Forsyth is really laid back off of that inside group, and I think he's just trying to let that sort itself out as he's got the 33 of Jackson Gleason with for company behind him. As these guys up here towards the front starting to get a little bit racy here as we come down inside of 20 to go.
Absolutely, getting real chippy as right now Worley pushing on Wells, as we know Worley is a very proficient pusher, just ducking out to get a little bit of clean air to that radiator right now. As we're going 3 wide again. Here comes the 13 and the 51 on the high side.
That's Garrett Delph leading that outside lane, that charge on the extreme high lane, and the 51 of Wilson trying to push along. Wilson, the car he's got to watch out for is the 69 of Dusty Burkhardt, who right now is running as the second to last car on track right now in the 18th position. So not too much to worry about as far as the lucky dog for Bradley Wilson. He's just got to keep that car clean right now.
Well, Burkhardt's about a second and 3/4 behind Wilson right now.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can see him right there at the tail end of that back group of 4. As here we go again, 13 jumping up to that third lane, going into turn number 3. Unfortunately, they're going to need more help than that, or they're going to need to back that run up a little bit and get more of a pull going down the back straightaway if they're going to hope to make that happen.
Delph, by trying to go to that outside line, Delph is losing ground on that outside lane. He's making it up by ducking in line in 1 and 2 and then using that wind down the back straightaway to pull up the run that he's getting. And once again, it just goes to show as he falls back in line and now is going to start to make his run back up as Wilson looks to that extreme high line again. He's going to get this run here. And yep, once again, it looks as though they're going to make that third lane. No, not quite.
No, not going to make it happen this time. But Frank, I'm looking at the last time these guys were down pit road, lap 45. So I'd say sometime within the next handful of laps, we should be seeing the money stop.
There's going to be a pit stop, I would say, with around 10 laps to go is what my money is, what my money's on here. 10 laps to go. Some of the guys that didn't pit are going to stay out a little bit longer. It looks like are going to come in a little bit earlier, I'm sorry. But 10 to go is what it's looking like.
Henneman, the first one to blink, because the last time he was down pit road was lap 37. So he got about 28 laps out of a tank.
Delphin Wilson getting that run again. The problem, though, is they're not going to have that room to come down this time.
They've got some help, though.
Yep, they do. That's Austin Collins in the 98. Haven't said his name much here tonight as now they start to fall back again.
Austin Collins, one of your...
Oh, here they come.
And here we go. And, of course, it's the Balls Out Racing team that's going to lead the battle as Worrell just charges that line.
Worrell almost slid right into the path of Worley. Down the pit lane they go. And we've seen the team that Ryan Worley races for on Friday nights. We've seen them pull this strategy so often where they come in before everyone, they get the 3 cars in a line, and then they charge, and usually they end up out in front by the time the pit stops cycle through. So carrying that strategy from Friday night into Saturday.
Fuel only for Worley and Worrell. Nick Wing taking 4 tires.
Might not have gotten the buttons off there.
I think you're right.
Oh, contact! Around goes the 13. Caution is out. Contact between the 13 of Garrett Delph and the 33 of Jack Gleason in the tri-oval.
Well, what started that looked like net code.
It looked as though Gleason was just trying to give the 13 a little bit of a push and just shoved him right in that left rear corner.
Yeah, but that started with net code.
Yeah. But still, though, that was one of those cases where even if net code wasn't involved, they were always going to hit.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Well, then, that's an interesting situation. That is now going to put Worley, Worrell, and Wang at the front of this field, as the rest of the field is going to have to take their money stop.
Right where they were expecting to be as the pit cycle worked its way out.
Well, then, how'd that work out for you guys? Pretty good, boss. I told you we weren't done seeing cautions yet.
And minor damage for the 33, the 13, and the 25 also caught a bit of it there. That number 9 Jersey Mike's machine, driven by Damon Lester, also caught a piece of that. But other than that, everyone else gets away scot-free, and those who were involved come off very minimal.
Yeah, absolutely. But the best news, if you are a Brad Wilson fan, he's now back on the lead lap. Officially back on the lead lap.
And he won't have to wait until the 11th hour to get it.
Absolutely. Liam Irving just drove through his pit stall.
So that would probably be the same thing that Nicholas Wing had done earlier on tonight. Wanted to pack it full of fuel just in case we get those green-white checkers Tony was referring to.
Yeah, pretty much. So as we are going to get a restart with right around 10 to go, I've seen a lot of you watching right now in the live stream. Go ahead and let us know who you're rooting for. You know, call your shots, folks. Who you riding with as we get into the closing laps of this 80-lap shootout here at Talladega for the Resurgence League. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the season finale of the ISNF Blade Node Cup Series. We will be going live with that one at around 6 p.m. Eastern Time as they take their season finale to the Music City Nashville Super Speedway. That's going to be one you're not going to want to miss.
Newer track at Nashville Super Speedway as well is going to offer a lot of great racing, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Every race we've seen there so far this past season has been a barn burner. And I would expect nothing less out of the BladeNode.com Cup Series tomorrow night.
This Wing is in a precarious situation here.
What's going on there?
He has dropped to the inside and has allowed cars to go. I haven't seen a race notification saying that he had an EOL.
Pop for speeding off. As the caution came out, he was just clearing the pit cone.
Okay, there you go.
So pop for speeding off, EOL penalty for Nick Wing.
There you go.
So, I mean, if you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, that's the best time to do it when the caution comes out before you clear the end of pit road.
We saw how that worked out.
Oh, yeah.
For the 69 of Dusty Burkhardt. He's just now getting his lap back.
So race officials trying to get as many cars back on the lead lap for this final shootout as possible. 18 cars going to be on the lead lap. The only one still running that's not is going to be Brett Sierra, who is currently 2 laps down. But 18 cars on the lead lap, so I can't fault race control's choice in doing this. But you know, let's take a look at the running order right now. Austin Collins up 11, sitting in 6th. Chris Worrell up 10, currently sitting in second, next to his teammate Ryan Worley as the lights are out pace car.
Patrick Clapp in the 65. Haven't spoken about him at all tonight.
Yeah.
In that Busch machine, up 9 from his 16th place starting spot, running in 7th.
Pat's had some strong runs as of late. Hasn't had the finishes that have, denoted how well he's been running. He's been caught up in other people's dumpster fires.
Someone's got to tell Justin Mons to stop texting and driving here.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, don't do that.
you no do. Please no do.
Please no step on snack.
So what? We had 11 laps to go here as we restart this, Tony.
That's what I'm counting as. Worley going to have the button with his teammate Chris Worrell. Look for the two of them to get stem to stern relatively quickly here as the field works its way into the Red Cat restart zone for what we hope is the last time tonight. Green flag is in the air. Worley and Worrell roll into the trigger. Worrell going to get the advantage as they come across the stripe, as about a car length separation from Worley back to the 14 of Wurtsema. And here we go. Business is about to pick up.
Middle of the pack getting a little bit crazy. We just spoke about Patrick Clapp in the 65 shuffling his way out through the middle there, as look at the 98 jump to the outside of Austin Collins, pushed by the 66 of Kyle Henneman. Oh, and they're wrecking in the back. You're right.
Damon Lester and Keaton Atkinson getting into it, going into turn 3, and I don't think either one of them had a choice in the matter.
We're still green as well, too, so that wreck at the back of the field.
It was actually at the front of the field, and luckily nobody else got caught up in it. Because Lester was running about 5th at the time.
Take a look and see what happened here is... it was a push to the left rear corner by Delph to Lester. Boy, Lester hit hard on that inside wall.
Yes, he did. We are now 10 laps to go. Worley getting pushed by Wurtsema. Wurtsema getting a little squirrely going into 3. Looks like he may have gotten a bump from Forsyth. And the last thing you want to do is try to push the pusher in a 3-car tango, as right now Worley with the nose out front. Worrell working that second lane. He's got the 98 of Collins with him. Two of your front runners in the point standings, as here comes the 51 of Brad Wilson. Contact! We stay green.
Boy, that's 6 with a wonderful save. Wurtsema as well on the inside line. Incredible job. And Worrell is going to keep the draft.
Worrell's going to keep the draft. Worley keeps the lead.
Wurtsema not so lucky.
Yeah, Wurtsman not quite as lucky. Wilson back up there as well, as he's now pushing on the double deuce at the front of this piece. Nick Wing back up there as well. Where did Nick come from? Because I didn't even see him coming.
He's flown up through this field. He's gotten lucky to get past those 2 incidents, but I was just about to say, Worrell was very lucky coming through the middle of the trial, because Wurtsman came up a little bit, and any more would have been contact. And just before I could start saying it, it happened. Didn't quite speak it into existence.
You almost did.
Darn close.
The announcer's curse. As we are 8 to go, and here comes Wilson on the high line.
Yep, he's got a legitimate shot at this now. As big contact there. A big push by Austin Collins goes wrong.
Collins was getting shoved by Pat Clapp, and I don't think they realized Wilson was going when he was, as now Wilson in the sucker hole, as here comes this 69 around the outside as well.
Also doesn't help that Toyota Supra nose comes to a point So a hard bump draft is not going to be good for whoever's receiving it off the front end of a Supra, as Austin Collins right now, the man who currently sits second in points, in the lead and has his bonus point for leading a lap tonight.
Yeah, but look who's sitting in third place now.
Yep. He's instantly right back in the fold.
Oh, good grief. As here comes Worley on that second lane, as he's now getting pushed. I believe that's Pat Clapp right behind him. Yes, it is. There is room for Worrell to come up if he wants to, and now there's not.
It's Clapp and Burkhardt that are sitting right behind that 22, the 31 of Wells, who we've seen up front all race long, in the mix as well on that outside line.
And they're 3 wide again.
Yep, as you would expect, as Patrick Clapp goes to the outside, looking for the race lead, and gets the race lead, 3/100ths of a second at the line over Austin Collins.
I'd say I'm surprised. I'd say I'm surprised, but I'm not. You know, this is what we've come to expect from this league. Hard racing in the closing laps.
Oh, there we go.
There it goes.
That was an ill-advised block.
Otiso.
That was an ill-advised block by the 98. Came a little bit too late. Clapp drove through it, and unfortunately for Clapp, he's the one that takes the big hit.
Well, it was a good run for the 65.
Oh, and hit him on the corner, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of ugly.
Ooh, and this 69 of Burkhardt takes a big hit to that inside wall as well, and this will save one particular man. That would be the 14 of James Wurtsma.
Yeah, it's going to let him get back to the tail end of this deal. As only our third caution here tonight, so I got to say I am impressed. Looks like Wilson, Worley, Collins, Worrell, Mounds, Wing, Owens, Wells, Irving, and Delph rounding out your top 10 as the field forms up behind that, whatever you want to call it, pace car looking thing.
Looking back through the incident now, it looks as though Danny Wells might have gotten a little bit of damage. I think the 13 of Garrett Delph saved himself from damage, just barely. 69 of Dusty Burkhardt.
Looks like a pavement modified right now.
He must have had something else happen, because he did not hit anywhere near enough to have that happen to him.
Well, now the big question is, do you come down and get 4 tires? Looks like the answer is no.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be.
We saw it work out last night.
I'm looking at it from Burkhardt's point of view now, and the hood just magically disappears for no reason, and then he loses the front when he hit the inside wall. So
yeah,
unless Burkhardt caught, nope, he didn't. He's got a fast repair, so he'll be good to go. 65 of Clapp, I don't think is going to be as lucky.
I don't think he's burned his fast repair. Oh no, looks like he has, because he is spending an extended period of time on pit road.
Yes, he is.
Gleason finally burning his. Looks like we're going to find out what's going on with Damon Lester.
Lester was a part of that first incident that didn't cause a caution with him and Atkinson.
Right, but has he burned his fast repair yet tonight? Looks like the answer is yes, he already has.
For Brett Sarah, he gets one of his 2 laps back.
We might possibly get a natural green-white checker, or at least an attempt at one.
What it's looking like, we got, what, 3 to go, 4 to go at this point?
We're 4 to go. It'll be 3 at the stripe. And if the lights go out on the pace car this time, it means we are going to have a natural one. As looks like Collins, Wilson, Worley, Worrell, Mounds, Wing, Owens, Wells, Irving, and Forsyth rounding out your top 10. As These guys are just picking them up and laying them down right now.
We've seen race control be generous here as far as the wave arounds go. I wouldn't be surprised if they let Brett Sira go, seeing as though he's the only car not on the lead lap, has a clean car.
Well, they've got to wait for him to get off pit road, which he just did. So if they're going to wave him around, they should do so now. And
Nice
unfortunately, okay, Lester's going to make it. Clapp's going to make it. So those guys are going to stay on the lead lap, although they're going to have to try to cold trickle the field.
Happens with the lights on the pace car here. They will
out they go.
Go out. Yep. So we will have a natural green-white checkered here.
Now here's the way this is going to work, folks. Green flag is going to come out. If the leader crosses the start-finish line to take the white flag before all hell breaks loose, we're racing back to the checkers. Otherwise, we're going into overtime.
Believe.
And I think we get 2 shots at it.
Yeah, I was just looking through. It doesn't say in the session info, unfortunately.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
We'll notice we were talking earlier on about the wind being up at about 10 miles an hour down the back straightaway. It's gone down to as low as 3 here as I've been looking at it. So the wind is playing with these guys. Unfortunately, it's not in the middle of one of the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. As I'm looking at the flags in turns 3, and I don't think they've got a tailwind going down the back straightaway. They got a nose wind.
Take a look as
they are running headlong into that wind, according to those flags.
We'll reset this here. Austin Collins and Bradley Wilson will be on the front row here. Ryan Worley and Chris Worrell, row 2. Row 3 goes to Justin Mons and Nicholas Wing. Toll Owens and Danny Wells in row 4 with Liam Irving and Carlin Forsyth making up the 5th row.
Absolutely. As the pace car makes that lazy left turn to drop down below the mustard line as it goes down pit road, Colin's going to have the button as the field works its way into the trial for, again, stay with me, what we hope is the last time tonight. Field working its way into the Red Cat restart zone. Collins has the button. Green flag is in the air, and we are back underway with 2 laps to go.
Inside line gets big time jumbled up, and you can see just how pinched Ryan Worley got there in the middle between the 98 and the 41 as the outside lines fans out.
Absolutely. The ones you're going to want to keep your eye on are the 6 of Worrell and the 90 of Wing. The teammates running stem to stern in that second lane behind the 51. 41 gets shuffled out.
It jumps right back in line too. There's no falling out here. There's no falling out to go to the back here as we are 3 wide all the way through.
Oy vey.
Yeah, there's a lot of close, tense action happening there as we come to the white flag. Look at Ryan Worley. Jumps out front to take the race lead, and then look at the 41 of Justin Mond on the inside. Didn't
Worley
quite stick 4 under. Oh, there goes Wing and Mond.
We took the white. We're racing back to the checkers. Here comes Worley and Worrell on the inside. They've got Wilson in tow. Wilson, what a recovery drive he's had. Contact.
That was the 09 of Owens that goes. Oh, more contact in the back. The 69 goes around even more still.
They're still wrecking. Drag race coming off, and they're still wrecking.
We'll go back to it. Ryan Worley trying to get the push from Chris Worrell coming out of turn number 4. The 51 puts the 98 in the wall, knocks the 6 out of the way. The 31 gets the run. Drag race to the line. It's going to be the 22 of Ryan Worley taking the win here at round number 4 at Talladega.
I don't even know what to say about that one.
It was a mess. That's about all you can say.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that one. As I think we're going to get a word from the production truck. John, what are your thoughts on that one?
Absolutely insane. You can't describe that in any other way. They are wrecking at the start of the lap, they are wrecking at the end of the lap, and everywhere in between. Every 5 seconds, somebody else was out of the race, and it just kept going, and it just kept going,
Absolutely.
and it just kept going. That was pretty wild.
I think the only way you're going to get an accurate representation of that last lap is just blimp cam it the whole way.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's the best way to do it.
Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look at how that lap started.
My goodness. Insanity is the 90.
The 90 and the 41 got together coming to the white flag. Neither one actually spun out.
First 3 cars are solid, and it looks like Wells, the inside line starts to come up. The 09 tried to come with the 51. The 69 hits the wall down the back straightaway, bounces down. 54 tries to shuffle in line. The 7 turns the 65 in the middle of 3 and 4, trying to gain just track position. Then coming out, 98 gets the wall, then gets the rear corner of the 51, bounces down into the 31, and that right there is effectively what wins the race for Ryan Worley in the 22.
And you got to feel for Chris Worrell, because that was of no doing of his own. You know, it was a 3-wide situation where the 98 gives the old Spanish Archer to the 31, the old elbow, and Worrell is just a victim of circumstance and gets shot down pit road backwards.
And he's going to be victimized even more here because he's being shown as the last car to finish this race by getting hit where he did. I believe iRacing gave him an unsafe pit exit. And because he crossed the line, he was a pit entry, you're right, and then effectively then just crosses the start-finish line, and because of that, he didn't have time to serve his penalty, so iRacing negated his final lap. He'll come home in 19th.
I mean, that was just one hellacious way to finish this race, and we are going to reach out now to the man that, all things considered, it wasn't a great night for the team, but personally speaking, Ryan Worley, your first win here in the Resurgence Xfinity Series. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks. I got to that a whole lot quicker than I did in IES, didn't I?
Well, I mean, Ryan, talk us through what you were watching in your rearview mirror with that last lap taking place.
Oh, man, I knew if I stuck with Chris, that was going to be my best chance. He was a little bit damaged there, but, man, he was giving me as much as he could out of that car. And that was really just my plan, to stick with him thick and thin, because I know sometimes he'll wreck off the top, and the guy who's sitting in that exact position is the one who gets through. So I figured I'd just stay there on the bottom, see what I could do with him, and see if we could get us the best finish possible. And then once he was gone, he got shot off down to the inside, I think, there. I was just like, well, let's see what we've got left in this car. And thankfully, we just already had enough momentum left to stay ahead of the guys on the outside.
Well, Ryan, you were running up front most of the night, but we saw your two teammates get shuffled to the tail end of the field each at least once. Talk us through the communications with your team, how you guys were able to get stem to stern as often as you were.
They were fast. Let's put it that way. It was weird because, I'd stay up front. I feel like I didn't really ever go to the back, but they would get to the back, and literally 3 laps later, I'd already be back up there. So basically once I got up there, we were just making plans. You know, I would maybe open up the gap, or they would open up the gap, and we just try to get lined up with each other, and then from there just move ourselves to the front. And that seemed to be working really good. They did go to the back, but like I said, they were just fast enough to get themselves right back to the front.
Well, we saw you guys come down under green flag conditions to get your money stop out of the way, and as soon as you guys cleared off of pit road, caution comes out. You guys are in the catbird seat.
Yeah, that caution was extremely timely there, because I don't know if you noticed, me and Chris kind of got separated from Nick there, and it wasn't going to get us tied up together. And 2 cars just isn't ever going to be as fast as 3 or 4 cars. So we were really kind of concerned there for a minute about our situation, but that caution came out and fixed it for us, and also put us in probably the best position in the field. So yeah, that was just very timely caution, worked out in our favor.
Well, Ryan, we are going to be off next week and the following week for Christmas and New Year's. We do return in 3 weeks for the last great Coliseum at Bristol. Your thoughts going into that half-miler?
I'm excited. These guys are pretty good. I've been very impressed so far with their ability to race out here. So I'm excited to see what we can do at Bristol. Hopefully it won't just be a caution fest the whole time. But I am moving between now and then, so I'll see if I can make it for that. But if I do, I'll have much better internet than I have right now.
Well, Ryan, one thing I do need to ask is we've noticed that on Friday nights, you and Chris, mortal enemies on track. But here on Sunday night or Saturday night, you guys are both running for Balls Out Racing. What are your thoughts teaming up with Chris and Nick?
Honestly, well, there just went my engine. I've been very happy racing with them. I really enjoy running with them. And honestly, it's one of those situations, sure, we aren't on the same team on Friday nights, but we've never been enemies, really. It's just one of those, we don't work with the same guys. And the best part of that is now I've got another guy in IES, or another 2 guys in IES who are more willing to work with me, or I've worked with more. So I think it helps me on both fronts, helps me in this league be able to put out, obviously, come out here and get a win. That was because of my teammates. And then also whenever I go to IS, say I get broken up from my teammates, I've got someone I've also worked with there. So it really is good on both fronts to have more friends than enemies.
Absolutely. And Ryan, who do you need to thank before we let you go?
Well, I always got to thank the good Lord above, just keep me out here and help me have a great race tonight. And then also my teammates, Chris and Nick there. They're really the reason I'm in P1 here. Whenever I was up there without them for a few minutes, it was like, well, I can't do anything because nobody would stick with me. But yeah, just really got to give a shout out to them for staying with me. And then Liam here, just putting on a great league. This is a lot of talent in here, so I'm excited to see what happens. And also, you guys for broadcasting us tonight. Really appreciate that.
Well, we're happy to do it, Ryan. Best of luck to you in 2 weeks. Good luck with your move, and may you have a safe and happy holiday season.
All right, you too, and I hope to see you guys whenever we come back to Bristol.
So that was our winner, Ryan Worley, and Frank, I believe you have second place with you now.
Yes, I do. Brad Wilson. Brad, first we'll get to we'll do the finish here. What did you see from your perspective of that finish?
Just 98 was pushing me, and I saw him try to go a little high, so I was trying to go with him to carry the momentum, but right about the same time he went high, my spotter said that the car was up there, and I tried to cut back, but we already made contact, putting him on the wall.
It was very close, and you had that misfortune there earlier on with the incident. Tell us about the wave around there, because we had mentioned it on the broadcast. It seemed a little late for that wave around. What was your thought when you got it, when you did?
Genuinely surprised. I saw someone else get a wave around that was further up front, and I jokingly asked Liam, hey, can I get one too? And he gave it to me, so I tried to get the best head start that I could. It's just caution didn't come out as quickly as I needed it to.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll head next from the high banks of Talladega to the high banks of Bristol at the start of the new year. Very different style racetrack, and after a couple of weeks off, you get a chance to kind of reset a little bit. How do you feel about Bristol in a couple of weeks' time?
I like Bristol in the Cup car and truck. I just haven't ran many Xfinity races ever, so it's definitely going to be an experience and something I need to practice with.
All right, anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate a second place finish here tonight?
Just my sponsor, Shenandoah Shine, Elite Performance Industries. Newly on board, simspeedshop.com. They make incredible button boxes, eye flags, anything you need to further upgrade your sim experience. Martin Sports, everyone at White Knuckle Esports and Abbey Racing Esports for giving me the opportunity that I have today.
All right, fantastic. There is your second place finisher tonight, Bradley Wilson. Bud, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
So that was our second place finisher. And Jonathan, I believe you have Danny Wells with you now.
So you're going to throw me on the spot after you guys didn't let me talk
am.
all night long. All right. Well, I tell you what. So this was a lot of fun for this race. Danny Wells, great job on P3. Just go ahead and the only thing I can ask is walk us through the final lap. How did you survive when so many other drivers did not?
Well, I mean, I just kept my foot in it. The 69 got nervous and just hit the wall on his own and wrecked the whole field. And I just kept my foot in it, stayed up there. The 51 blocked the 98, put him in the wall, and it kind of screwed my shot to go for the win. But I still came home P3, so I'm really happy about it. So it's great.
And one final question for you from me. So the last time I personally drove in the Xfinity style car at a super speedway, and Frank and Tony touched on it at the beginning of the race, is that they're real touchy. And especially with the track temperature, I believe it was 123 degrees at the start of this race. Were the cars real touchy out there, and that's why we saw a lot of potentially more aggressive looking moves than were meant to be made, or twitchier moves by chance?
I mean, I would say that comes down to just anybody's steering ratio, if anything. And I mean, I didn't feel that twitchy. I mean, maybe like when the runs got a little more, or like as the run went on longer and the tires wore, it got a little bit more twitchy. But like most of the time, I felt pretty smooth, at least in my opinion.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time. Anybody you want to thank, talk to, or mention before we let you go, sir?
Just my sponsors. I want to thank Polaris and Loon, and I want to thank my girlfriend. She's amazing. And thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoy your night. Have a great weekend. And if I don't talk to you again, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Well, without further ado, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Tony, and special guest Frank Marchese.
Well, we've got another one in the books. And Frank, I know it's been a while since you've been in the booth, but of all the races to come back and call, I got to say you picked a good one tonight, my friend.
Yeah, it certainly was. And again, you know, we talked this morning about this. This came together very, very quick. This morning we were talking about going racing at Watkins Glen, which I was excited for because, you know, it's the new racetrack. But Talladega is always a fun racetrack to come back to and call a race. And this one, you're right, Tony, it was absolutely wild and it was a great show.
Absolutely, and it's what we've come to expect out of the Resurgence Xfinity Series. You know, Liam and company have put together an amazing group of people, an amazing group of tracks. You know, week in and week out, we see hard-fought battles, and you know what we saw tonight is what we've come to expect out of this league. And I dare say that as we get to the halfway, or we're now at the halfway point of the season, as we take that 2-week hiatus for the holidays. You know, when we come back at Bristol, it's going to be nothing but barn burners going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great second half of the season with a bunch of different style racetracks. You know, you have the short track at Bristol, a road course thrown in there, 1.5 mile cookie cutter, and then another 1.5 mile oval at Homestead, which is not at all a standard racetrack with the lines you have to run there. In order to be quick, it is not an easy track to do, to get around, especially in these cars with how loose and how squirrely they can be. So yeah, it's certainly going to be a good second half to the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you go to Homestead, it's put them up on the dash and, you know, just hang on to her tight. But let's take a quick look at the finishing order. Ryan Worley, Bradley Wilson, Danny Wells, your top three we've already heard from. James Worsama having a good finish, coming home in fourth. Austin Collins up 12, coming home in fifth. Liam Irving in sixth. Justin Mons in his series debut, coming home in seventh. Pat Clapp in eighth. Jackson Gleason in 9th. Garrett Delph rounding out your top 10.
I think you have a message there, Tony. Kyle Hanneman comes home in the 11th position. Carlin Forsyth in 12th. Damon Lester 13th. Nicholas Wing comes home 14th. Keaton Atkinson in the 15th position. Dusty Burkhardt will be the final car on the lead lap in the 16th position. Tal Owens, Brett Sierra, and Chris Worrell all finishing a lap down, and we had already gone over what happened with Chris Worrell getting the black flag for an unsafe pit entry, and then not serving the penalty before the black flag was served. So therefore negating his final lap. So he went from 3rd possibly to 19th. And Joseph Lester, we saw what happened to him just past halfway. The side-by-side contact to bring out the second caution, ending his race, coming home in 20th.
Absolutely. So that is going to do it for the finishing order. Before we go, though, now, Frank, I know what's been going on after you moved from New York to California. What have you been up to since the last time we've heard from you here on ESBN?
Well, it's been quite an interesting road. You know, we've had some personal things happen that I'm not really going to get into. I wasn't in the greatest place, and I know, you know, talking with being on the inside and knowing what was going on with ESPN after the transition with SRM, you know, things were, I think it's fair to say, things were a little tense, and people weren't really giving each other too many breaks and cutting anyone too much slack, which I do regret to some degree. I just needed to go, and I needed to take a break. And the reason why I'm here tonight is because I never really did get to, I guess, properly say goodbye. And I'm not the kind of guy who likes to leave, you know, stories unfinished. And if this is my last time here on ESPN, which I don't know, this was intended to be a one-off thing. And Tony, knowing you've been trying to get me to do every single race coming up this next week.
Hashtag not wrong.
But yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, from a couple of months ago, to all of the leagues that we've done, thank you for all of the great racing that you guys have provided me. The 16 months I was here with ESBN was absolutely incredible, and I've made some pretty good friendships, and I've seen a lot of great racing, and have made a lot of great memories over the 16 months I was here. I know some of the leagues that I called aren't with us anymore, which is
a couple of them.
Some of them are still there, but some of them aren't.
Most of them are. A couple of them have decided to go a different direction.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate as well. But I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, obviously, Tony, Byron, who I know you guys haven't heard from much either lately, and Sam as well, even though, you know, it's been a while since we've spoken. And thank you to the people who watch ESBN, because without you guys, not only would I not be able to do this, I know nobody else would be able to as well. So I just wanted to say thank you, and if this is goodbye, at least I closed the book properly this time.
I think it's a good time to leave that book open, grab the pen, and let's start another chapter, my friend. But joining us just before we're going off the air, we're going to give the final words to Liam Ervig. Liam, another great race for the Resurgence League.
Yeah, man, a fantastic show. I mean, the racing was incredible all around, everywhere throughout the course of the race. I mean, we even had green flag pit stops at Talladega, which is a new thing for me. But I just wanted to pop in and say a few things. First off, Frank, I appreciate you joining us here with the Resurgence here. I want you to know that no matter what you got going on in your life, you always got a place in this booth. And
Thank you.
Whether the book is closed or the chapter's over and you got a new one coming, love to have you here. And I definitely appreciate you jumping in here, calling this race and having fun with it. If it's the last one, I hope it was a blast, and if it's not,
Definitely was.
hope it's got you begging for more. Another thing I want to say before we let off, Justin Mons finished 7th. He's got a special paint scheme for his son Jacob Mons, who just celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday to Jacob. Justin's a good friend of the group, good friend of the league, and I know he's
Great debut race.
Yeah, fantastic show for him. He's I know he was excited to run that paint scheme, and he's been excited with Jacob's birthday this week. So
And from the look of the car, it appears to be his 7th birthday. So a B7
Yes, sir.
finish for his 7th birthday.
yeah, no, Justin would have loved to get that win, but that definitely fits. So want to thank you guys once again for doing this. I'll pass the final words off to you guys. Thanks again.
Well, that is going to about do it for us here tonight from Talladega. On behalf of the entire crew at Sim Racing Media, the Esports Broadcasting Network, and the Resurgence League, we want to wish you a happy and safe holiday season. We will see you in 3 weeks at Bristol. And remember, folks, for Mr. Jonathan Leach up in the production truck, Mr. Frank Marchese joining me in the booth tonight, it felt like coming home again. And this is Tony Trapasso reminding you that as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.